What's going on, guys? Big Mike, D717 Outlaw, back with you here today. It is Easter Sunday. It's about noon. I have to go get ready to go to Easter dinner with the family. But I have a couple issues that I ran into with the bike, a couple upgrades that we're doing on the bike, and I just wanted to show them to you. Unfortunately, I didn't get to work on a ton this week. I was house sitting for a family member, so I was nowhere near home to work on the bike or have the time to work on the bike. So let's jump into the biggest upgrade that we're doing for the bike. This one, for running a high horsepower, more drag-oriented bike, this is an insurance policy to save my motor in the long run. Under hard launches, typically the most stress gets put on your clutch and your clutch basket. So the biggest thing with the OEM basket is, I'll show you the picture of the OEM, there is a little, almost like fingers, that are on the end of the basket, and these plates or these tabs sit inside those fingers, or at least on the edges of those fingers, and under hard acceleration in a bike of this magnitude, it'll snap those fingers off. Those fingers will get circulated in your oil system. They'll end up in places you do not want them, and it can cause catastrophic failure in the motor, or I guess that is worst case scenario, is catastrophic failure. So the upgrade that we did is we contacted MTC. Actually, I contacted RJ Bake at One Stop Speed out of Jersey, and they hooked me up with MTC Engineering. We did this is a pretty common thing, is a billet aluminum clutch basket. So what that does is those little fingers are no more. These are a lot thicker sections. The basket itself is a lot thicker, and it's all billet aluminum. It's made to last. So what they do with the OEM basket is when you send your old one in, they will reuse this gear and this center section. What they'll upgrade is the back plate, the springs, and of course the basket itself. So upgrading this is an insurance policy on my motor that my clutch is not going to cause issues if it catastrophically fails. But the other thing going with it too, if anybody is watching this that is working on clutch stuff for their bike, and you want to save a little bit of money, go with an OEM clutch. Buy some heavy clutch springs. You should be just fine. I know a handful of guys that they still run OEM plates. They don't run Track Kings. They don't run Outlaw racing clutches like I used to. Not saying any of those clutches are bad. OEM clutches, easy to break in, and when they go, they go. They don't give you kind of hiccups and things like that, and you're like, maybe my clutch is going out. If the OEM clutch goes, you know it's the clutch plates right away. So that's what I'm sticking with. All I did was, with the Brock's clutch mod, I upgraded the springs, and they also give us this little spacer, which helps get a little bit more tension on the springs, so the springs are a little bit stiffer. So we did that upgrade, and then now we're going to talk about one issue that I ran into from the R1 wheel swap. So coming down here on my lovely seat, we did the R1 wheel swap, and in the front end, a lot of guys have had issues. I had some people comment on the last video asking, hey, what did you do about the front end? I didn't account for this, but a lot of guys do a single rotor conversion for these because the hub width on the R1 wheels is thinner, so from the rotors do not line up with the calipers. So typically what they do is you either space the rotors or you do a single rotor conversion, which I've seen a lot of guys do in drag racing. I'm sticking with that because it's less rotational mass for the wheel. It takes some more weight off because I get rid of one caliper, a jumper line, and go back to just one. So going with that, the spacers that you do are typically from the hub, between the hub and the rotor itself, brings everything out and everything lines up. But the issue that I ran into specifically with these rotors were oversized because when I bolt down, or at least try to bolt down the caliper, the top of the caliper, this little hump here, actually catches on the top edge, I guess, or the outer edge of the rotor, and if I tighten it, the wheel doesn't rotate. So I had to go out and order some high performance rotors. They are smaller rotors. They're not oversized performance rotors. They're just different material. They should give me a lot more stopping power for going, especially for going for a single. upgraded to EBC pads, and to save a little bit more weight on the rear, I went out and got a new rear rotor and new pads for the back end. So we are upgrading the brakes on all, I don't want to say all 4 corners, but all the way around, so we can get something else. And also, the other issue that I ran into, another part that I had to buy, my battery crapped out. So I ordered a Firepower lithium battery. It's going from the 180 cold cranking amps to 240 cold cranking amps for the bike. Should be plenty of power to get this thing started, especially now that we have a 20 amp fuel pump, or we at least had to put a 20 amp fuse in for the fuel pump. We have a bigger fuel pump to run the turbo. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get this quick update out to you guys. We are getting cranking on this. We have to get ready for the season. I talked with a lot of guys. I was trying to get the bike ready for yesterday, to go to the track. Beaver Springs opened up yesterday on the 3rd, but a lot of guys told me not to set that as my deadline. It's too cold. A lot of times for big horsepower bikes, I'd roast the tire. And plus, once the bike's tuned, I want to get some street time on it, breaking the tires a little bit more, and get the feel for when the power starts to come in. And I'd rather do that for free, driving it back and forth to work or something like that, instead of paying to go to the track and then hurting something or not getting my money's worth for testing. I'd rather just get the street time, get a feel for it, and go from there. But as always, guys, like I said, I hope you liked the video. Hope you guys have a happy Easter. And as always, if you want to know anything more about my bike, drop the comments down below. Check out those companies down below. I've linked every company that I've ordered parts from, and just hook them up and give them some support. They've helped me out for making this project what it is. And yeah, as always, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, ride safe, ride smart, always wear a helmet. See ya.